How do you optimize your song's intro for Spotify? When you're writing a song, how do you make sure you've honed it to take the full advantage of the Spotify algorithm? We all know that listeners need to make it past 30 seconds of a song, because if they skip your song before then, Spotify's algorithm punishes you and stops sending your song to new listeners. So it's very important to try to win over the new listener, if you're a small band that's still trying to gain a fan base, in that first 30 seconds. So let's analyze a song and talk about some things we could do to make our intros a little bit better. Recently, I had this old song lying around. It's called The Architect, and it's inspired by the movie Matrix Reloaded. I wrote the song and recorded it in 2009. I wasn't as good at recording, didn't have the best techniques or mics at that time, but I wanted to polish it up and see if I could make it good enough to post as a Spotify single in 2022. But it needed some updating. I'm going to play for you those critical first 30 seconds of my original demo, and then listen for things that you think could be improved and push your songwriting capability. After I've played this, we'll talk about some improvements I've made, and I'll play the final version.
Put on your guard, for Zion is holding down, and the men are patiently waiting for the dawn. Put out your lights, well, everyone's...
All right, that was the first 30 seconds. So that song starts with some punch, but it does, to me, sound a little bit 1990, 2000, early 2000s. I mean, I love that stuff. I'm a guitar player. I'm always going to be a rock artist, but I felt like maybe I could tweak this a little bit to be a little more modern and pick up a few extra listeners, maybe some pop crossover listeners. So what I did, thinking about starting better, having a better, stronger intro for 2022, I tried to think of a similar artist to me who recently had a big hit on the charts. Shinedown just had a huge smash hit album. They're like number 2 on the charts. So it seemed like a good band to study for the moment. And I noticed they're a pretty heavy modern rock band, but a lot of their songs started with softer intros. Piano intros are kind of big right now, incorporating that to make it a crossover song. So I decided to take that approach. I cut that first intro, even though that big guitar intro, I'll play it again. Even though that's a big energetic start, a lot of people gravitate more towards lyrics, and that intro is a little bit dated sounding. So I decided to try to start with the vocals and replace the acoustic guitar with some piano. Turns out like this.
Put on your guard, for Zion is holding down, and the men are patiently waiting for the dawn.
So at the 15-second mark, we've still got that big punch in the gut when all the instruments come in, like the original intro had. But we've got an atmospheric piano. That's one of those Heaviosity plugins. They've got one called like Piano Foundations. And I took that because it's kind of a modern movie type of sound. It's cinematic. And used that instead of the guitar to try to create more of a crossover rock sound for the song. Another advantage of doing that, of cutting that instrumental intro, is I shaved off 15 seconds of the song here. And my chorus is the strength of this song. Imagine that you have a brand new listener and you want to get them to the hook of your song as quickly as possible so that they stay engaged and save your song, right? To do that, if you're shaping a single, you might want to cut down unnecessary instrumentals. Now, on the back half of your song, if you think you've won your listener over, great, leave some of those instrumentals if they have a purpose and if they have power. But at the front, I wanted to get the listener to the chorus of my song as soon as possible. So I was able to do that right about the 30-second mark by cutting that instrumental guitar intro.
Keeps me awake almost every night. In another life, we were bigger, we were wise. I am not just a pawn that you can control. Don't we all go?
The lyrics there were, in another life, we were bigger, we were wise. I'm not just a pawn that you can control. It's really about Neo's conversation with the architect in the movie Matrix Reloaded. It's that debate about free will and destiny. Can I make my own choices? Or am I just programmed to do this? No, I'm going to break away and I'm going to make my own choices. Well, that's a very deep concept. It's very meaningful. And I wanted to get people to that as fast as possible. So that changed how I decided to arrange the beginning of this song to get people there faster to that hook. I hope this was helpful for you as you're trying to shape the intros of your own songs. Think about if your goal is to attract new listeners and keep them past the 30-second marks of the Spotify algorithm, thinks people like your song and sends it to more people. Think about cutting down unnecessary stuff in the first 30 seconds. Put it after that if you want. It's not going to hurt you as much if people skip your song after 30 seconds. But it's critical to start strong. So on your singles, consider starting with maybe the verse or a very unique, powerful intro, some kind of hook, and consider what the strength of your song is and how you can get the listener there faster so they get hooked faster and stay with you longer and hopefully save your song. I hope this was helpful. I'll talk to you again soon as we analyze more songwriting tips. Like and subscribe to this channel, and let's all get better at our craft of songwriting together. We'll see you next time.